Hello everyone, so welcome to today's video. We are doing a fall inspired look. This is my first fall tutorial for this new season and I absolutely adore this eye look. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I absolutely love the brand that I'm using for the eyes. I'm going to talk you through the eye look step by step, the face products as well. I'm going to show you the whole face, the whole routine, how we got to this point because I just absolutely love it. I'm revisiting some old favorites, incorporating a few products that I need to show some more love. They've just been kind of collecting dust in my collection. I took the dust off and we're trying them again and I'm sharing it all with you today on camera, so I hope you will enjoy it. If you want to see how to do this look, then just keep watching. I'm starting my complexion with a little bit of the Glowish Blur Jam Primer. And I wanted to revisit this. I've had this in my collection for about a year and I haven't really reached for it as much as I thought I would. So I've been trying to show some love to some of these products that I've had in my collection, just kind of collecting dust, to be honest with you. And I used this primer yesterday and I really did enjoy the way it looked underneath my foundation. So I'm using my BK Beauty 109 brush to apply primer. It's what I've been doing lately. Then I'm going in with the classic double wear foundation from Estée Lauder. I wear the shade 1N Porcelain and I just take a little bit and dot it around. I love this foundation. It is long wearing, but it's like skin. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't look cakey. And it goes on beautifully over any primer that I use. So it's become one of my top go-tos. And I'm using the Anisa Pinnacle Foundation Brush, which is also a really great brush. It's a triangular shape and it blends foundation in so beautifully. Today's concealer mix is going to be the Natasha Denona High Glam in P1 and the Tower 28 Serum Concealer. I've been testing this out. I have the shade called BU. So I start with the High Glam from Natasha Denona, which is a really great formula. It's a little bit on the peachy side. So I take this in the innermost part of my under eye area. And then I take the Serum Concealer from Tower 28 and I just do one swipe like so. It's a very sort of smooth, kind of creamy formula and I really have been enjoying the coverage that that provides, but I also like mixing, so that's what I'm doing today. And I'm going to blend everything together with the Angled Concealer brush, also from Anisa. And I like to take this brush and just pat and blend those two shades together. This brush is the perfect size for blending and really getting a small amount of product to cover a larger surface area of my face, and it does prevent from overusing too much product. So I have it pretty much blended as well as I feel with the brush. And one last little thing that I do is take my damp beauty sponge. This is the original Beauty Blender. And I just kind of tap this out and make sure that I get right in that inner corner. So going back to showing some love to some products that kind of just been collecting dust in my collection, another product that's in that category is the Givenchy Prisme Libre powder. I have Satin Blanc, which is number 2. I bought this a couple months ago and I just keep going to my Huda Beauty or like my Charlotte Tilbury. I just love those powders and formulas and I just keep forgetting to use this. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. It's got 4 different shades and I like to tap this out onto the lid or my napkin, paper towel, whatever it is that I'm using to clean my brushes and my hands in between makeup application. I like to use to sort of dispense the product because this, I don't like putting my sponge that I've already applied on my face into the product for hygienic reasons. I don't prefer to do that. So I do take my beauty sponge and I like to tap and sort of bounce this product into the sponge a little bit so that I get the 4 shades to mix well. And then I like to look up and set my concealer. And I do the same method of application with all my setting powders. I truly do think that using a damp sponge is the best because it really sets, but it eliminates that powdery mess that you can kind of get and the heaviness from powders if you use a brush or apply too much product. This really removes that, so it's not something that I have to worry about. Whatever's left, I'm just going to go through the center of my forehead, over my nose, chin, just because I don't want to waste any of this product. This is the smaller size, the travel size, which is a little bit more affordable than buying the full size, which is, I think, close to 60 bucks. Regardless, it's still an expensive brand and product to use, so I don't want to waste any of it. So I'm going to just take the remnants of that and just go right over the rest of my face. So I've gotten back into my Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer. This is huge, this compact. It's got so much product in it. This is the shade Medium 2, and I really like it. I've been working towards the bottom, so this kind of still looks brand new up here, but down here you can tell that I've been using it. I think this formula is great. It's beautiful to work with. I like to use any fluffy brush, but today's brush is the Makeup by Mario F1 brush. And I'm going to use it, since it's angled, to apply it kind of high to the higher points of my face, but also kind of slightly where I would put a contour. Not trying to contour specifically with this because this is quite warm for a contour. And this looks a little intense. I will blend this out as I continue to add more products. So you got to trust the process sometimes with certain products. And bronzer is one of those that I definitely can get pretty heavy-handed. But regardless of how much of this I apply initially, it's always easy to work with and blend. Then to sort of set the bronzer, I'm going to go in with the Haus Labs. And who am I kidding? I love this bronzer. I've talked about this. I've sung praises for this product. This is the Velvet Bronzer from Haus Labs in the Light Level 2 shade. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that and just kind of set that cream bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury. Not that it needs to be set, I just like this formula. And I reach for this pretty often, almost daily, because I just really love the formula. It's easy to work with, and it's hard to mess this up. And I think it's because the tone is, it's a little light, but it also looks really natural, like a natural sort of flush and color. I'm back and the brows are done. I decided to do them off camera because my brows, first of all, there's nothing special about my brow routine. I can easily spend a good 5 to 7 minutes or longer trying to do my brows. If it's a bad brow day, forget about it. So I'm going to just show you what I use, and this is pretty much consistent daily. The Benefit Precise in my brow pencil is where I start with the shade 3.5. Then I take the Lift and Snatch from NYX. This is a brow pen in the Brunette shade, and I just create hair-like strokes in the areas where I have sparse bald spots, where my hair just doesn't grow, where it's short and the hair itself doesn't grow longer to match everything else. That's where this pen comes into play. And I also have used this before to fill in my brow entirely, and I do like the effect. It's a little bit more of a feathery look, which I like. And then I set everything with a Stronghold brow gel. This is actually the brow glue from NYX. This is what I've been using, but I also really like the Too Faced Fluff and Hold. It's a laminating wax. I have a new one ready to go, but this is the one I've been using from the drugstore, and it's worked well to keep my brows in place. I'm taking my MAC Painterly Paint Pot to prime my lids and get that going. This is how I start every eye look. I'm thinking that maybe we should tackle the blush. I'm going to put my paint pot away and show you what I did for this look that I talked about on Instagram. This is actually a cheek palette that came out last year for the holidays from NARS. This is the Rising Star, and I do really love the colors. And so I know this may not be available, but I can't really help myself. I really do want to use my products. So I will show you the inside of this. So here is sort of a purpley magenta shade, like a mauve rose, a deeper plum, a classic peach shade, and then a pinky nude. And then this here is a champagne pink highlight. So the tones themselves, they're not anything unique to this palette where, you know, if you couldn't get this palette or don't have it, you're missing out. These tones do exist in other brands. Maybe not the formula, might not be the same, but the colors are out there. And to be honest with you, I'm not using just one specifically. This is what I do, okay? Let me just show you how I use all of these at one time because I'm trying to use up some of my stuff. So I take a blush brush, and just any one, and I literally just swipe right across, and I just twist the brush around to make sure that I evenly covered it with product, and I tap into every single pan, tap it onto a paper towel, dust off the excess, and just lightly start patting this in. This formula does take a little bit of building, but it is pigmented. Yesterday, I went a little too heavy on these sort of purpley, plummy shades, and it was a little bit more berry. So this is what it looks like when you just gently kind of tap And there's a subtle kind of sheen to this. There's no sparkle, except for the highlighter, which I didn't mix into this. And it just looks like skin. And it looks like a natural, pretty flush to the skin. So I just, again, just swipe across. Just make sure I tap in all of them evenly. Tap off on a napkin. Tap off the excess and just tap on the cheeks. And then the highlighter today, I'm going to go in with an OG classic. This is the MAC Soft and Gentle. You can't go wrong with this. I could have used the highlighter that's in that palette, but I want to use this today because it's one of my favorites. Now for eyes, the fun part, the part that I get to play up every single day. I wore this yesterday and I also shared it on Instagram and I just loved it. I wore this all day long. I did my makeup in the morning and my eyeshadow look was still just as vibrant, as intense as when I first applied it to when I went to go take it off to get in the shower. I absolutely adore this formula. That's one of the reasons why, but it's the Natasha Denona. This is the mini Starlette palette. It's a set of 5 colors and it's simple and easy and I used every single shade for that look, and I'm going to talk you through the entire look step by step with these colors and only using these, and I adore this palette. It is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to start adding a little bit of the peach shade, which is the one in the very center. It is matte. This one is called Vega and it is a traditional peach tone. And I'm just adding this right into the crease with a fluffy brush from ColourPop. For some definition, I started lightly building my outer V area. I started with an eyeshadow brush. I'm going to do the same technique because I do think that it worked out in the end. So I'm going to just do exactly the same thing as I did yesterday. I'm going to take this light shade here, which is like a light nude. I think it's called Nude Mauve, and it is matte. I'm going to take that color, and I'm going to just pat that right on the outer V of my eye. And I'm just focusing more on the placement of the color, and I'll blend in a moment. But I'm using this brush to kind of pat right on this outer part. And then with a more dense brush, this is almost like a pencil brush from Milani. It's part of their travel set. I've had this brush for a few years. I'm just blending out the edges a little bit. I'm not adding anything else just yet. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush and I'm going to start working on my lower lash line. I'm taking a BK Beauty 210 brush with that same matte shade. And I'm going to apply that to my lower lash line. Wiping off that same brush, I'm going to go into the Vega shade, which is the peach. And I'm blending out below that matte shade. Just to mimic what I've done on my upper lid area, I want to do the same color combination on the lower lash line. And then to intensify this just a little bit more, I'm going to take that same little brush, the 210 from BK Beauty, and I'm going to go into this shade here, which is more of like a muted purpley type of shade. It's like a dusty mauvey purple, and this is called Per Se. And I'm going to add that mostly on the outer half of my lower lash line. I'm going to start with the coppery shade. This is called Rhea, and it is so pretty. It's like a beautiful copper. It's got quite a bit of warmth to it, but it is such a perfect fall shade. And I'm applying that to the center of my lid. And I'm going to slightly overlap that line where it meets into that matte. I don't want to go too far into the matte. I really want to keep this in the center. And then, of course, because I like sparkle, I'm going to take the lightest shade, which is called Galaxia. And this one has a sort of duochrome kind of finish to it. It looks like a champagne, but there is a little bit of a kind of duochrome greenish, kind of bluish sort of glow to it when the light hits it. There is a little less pigment in this one as opposed to the other shades, but it is perfect to layer on top of another shade, or as I'm going to do today, I'm taking this into the inner part and fading it into the Rhea that we just applied. And that is just absolutely perfection. I love it. I think that's probably my favorite shade, and the Rhea. Those two together are just incredible. Do you see that sparkle? And when the light hits it, or when the sun just shines on your eyes, it's gonna look just out of this world. I love it. I can't say any more good things about this. Like, this is just such a good, small, compact palette that adds so much intensity to the eye, and it's a great palette from Natasha Denona. Then to add a little bit more depth to the outer V, I'm going to go in with that muted purpley shade here, the Per Se, with that same sort of pencil style brush from Milani that I used earlier. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color, and I'm going to stamp this directly in the outer V area and kind of pat where it meets up into that coppery shade. Just a little bit. And this is, again, personal preference. You can add as much or as little as you want for this step. So I have to do some eyeliner and mascara to really kind of pull everything in, and then we'll work on the lip combo for today. Starting off with the Makeup by Mario Master Pigment Pencil in black, I'm going to tightline. Liquid liner is the NYX Epic Ink Liquid Liner in brown. And seriously, this is the perfect brown liquid liner. And I'm just doing a very thin line. I don't want to do anything super thick because I don't want to cover up too much of that eyeshadow. It's just too pretty, right? But I love my eyeliner, so I'm going to just do a very, very thin line. Then I'm going to finish everything with some mascara. This is the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara. Mascara and liner is done. I do want to add a little bit of something special to the inner corner, and I think I'm just going to highlight my inner corner and brow bone with the same face highlighter, so my MAC Soft and Gentle. I'm going to use a Reference number 3 brush, which is super tiny little detail brush, to apply some of that right in the inner corner, and that's that last little bit for today's eye look that is really just going to pull everything together. And I like the goldeny tones in this highlighter with the colors on the lid. And there you have it. Those are the eyes. I absolutely love this look. It's sparkly, it's a little smoky, it's a little bit warm, it's kind of fall, but it's not overly dramatic, it's not difficult to recreate, and we used every single shade in this little palette. It couldn't get easier than that, and it will wear incredibly well. So now we get to do the lips. And I was playing around with some products yesterday, and I wanted to show some love to my Victoria Beckham lipstick. So that's what I ended up wearing. And I did like the combo. I'm not quite sure if it's like the ideal color to go with this eye look, but I'm going to just show it to you because I'm recreating what I wore yesterday. I started off with the NYX Nude Pink Lip Liner, which I absolutely love this formula. And it's some of the best from the drugstore. This is such a pretty pink. It legit took me a long time to line my lips because I literally have to sharpen this pencil. I could feel the wood from the pencil just scraping my lips, so it's time. It's definitely time, but I love that liner so much. And then here it is with the Posh lipstick from Victoria Beckham. It's creamy. It's got a bit of a sheen to it where it's not shimmery, but it's not super glossy. So there's a subtle sort of gloss finish to it. Super, super comfortable. I absolutely love formulas like this that have that color payoff of a lipstick, a bit of a sheen that you expect from like a gloss without being super shiny, but without being completely matte. And the shade, by the way, is called Twist. I absolutely adore this look. There's nothing that I would change about it. I could wear this every single day. I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect for fall. I think it's just the right amount of smokiness for my preference, just personal preference. And I love the warmth, but I also like that sparkle. I've been getting into a lot of glitter shadows over the last several months, and I just love using the Natasha Denona formula. It's one of my all-time favorites, and this little mini Starlette palette is one to not sleep on because there's so much that this can offer. You can do something simple and basic Or like today, I used every single shade and created an everyday kind of look with it. You can definitely go smokier with this. There's many, many things that you can do. And I like how thin and sleek this is. The pans, although they're smaller than her typical midi-sized palettes, you do get quite a bit of product, and a little bit goes a long way. So if you have not tried the Natasha Denona formula, I highly encourage you to try it. These little small ones are a great way to dip your toe into the brand's formula and try for yourself what everyone is loving about the formula, so you get to experience that as well. And these are around $27 or so, just less than 30 bucks. And I think it's a great time, especially with the Sephora sale right around the corner and the holidays. Everybody's creating their wish list. This is something you can put in a stocking stuffer for someone that you love on your list, or even for yourself. That is it. That is the completed look for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you so much for being here. The description box down below is going to have every product listed and linked for you. You can also follow me on Instagram. You can pay me a visit there. We can chat, be friends. It's always here on the screen. Take care, you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.